back to another edition of Primetime on SooNews.ca. A couple of months ago, I told you that you'd have the best coverage of the municipal election this year in 2010, and we're in the midst of interviewing all three mayoralty candidates in the next week, and we're chatting with Councillor Caicco of Ward 1. Jamie, in terms of, you mentioned quality of life, which we certainly do have in this community, and I've been here 20 years, and it really hits home after, probably 5 or 10 years of being here. Can you highlight your community action plan? Quality of life is part of that.
Yeah, it's one pillar of that plan, and it would include anything that, as you mentioned, would enhance that quality of life, such as healthcare. That's very important to everyone in the community. We should do anything in our role as a municipality. Our role is limited, but there are things we could do within the Northern Ontario School of Medicine. Physician recruitment's important, and investigating supportive housing to put less of a strain on our local hospital.
Do we have a date in terms of, we're looking at next year, I guess, 2011 to have that hospital open?
It's coming along fine, and obviously we're a stakeholder, we're a contributor in it, and so far it appears to be on time and on budget. So we're excited about that. Other things within that quality of life would include, a vibrant community. One expects good college, a good university. Those types of institutions, they need our full support. So those are part of what adds to our quality of life.
Let me ask you one question on that. If you were elected mayor tomorrow, would you go and promote with our MPP, promote our quality of life to bigger companies in Southern Ontario and use that as a basis of trying to decentralize the companies and bring them up here? Would you promote that with our
Well,
MPP?
We have to use whatever strengths we have, whether it be availability of land or lifestyle or anything that we could see that'll give us a competitive advantage in attracting companies.
Use that as a kind of like a package deal kind of thing. Use everything we have to leverage and promote this community.
And there are a lot of benefits. There's a lot of aspects of our life that beats that Southern Ontario living.
Oh, without a doubt. How can we improve teamwork among councillors? Week in and week out, I hear that dysfunctional council, weakest council we've ever had. As mayor, do you have an action plan to get around that, to lessen that from happening again?
Well, we've talked about this before, and relationships are work, and you have to work at them.
Right.
On one hand, you really have to respect that you have 12 individuals, and they all have different personalities on council. And the challenge is building consensus among them, but bringing them together as a team.
Right.
And I hate to second guess or look back, but I think that if there was anybody that questioned the teamwork of this council, maybe the fault is, and this is something that I would look into, is you start building that team right away.
Right.
As soon as a new term starts or an election happens, because you can't wait 3 years into a term and say, okay, let's start acting as a team.
That's right.
It starts at the beginning.
The election's October 25th. If you're elected mayor, you'll probably have that team done by the end of this calendar year, kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, and it's an ongoing thing. It's a relationship, so it's something that it's unrealistic to think that every councillor is going to agree with everyone all the time. Right. But building consensus is important, Andy.
In our remaining moments, I want to ask you about this economic development model that Sarnia North Bay has. If you were elected mayor, would you entertain the possibility of looking at economic development where it's either reporting to a department under the CAO or directly to mayor and council, because these communities have successful economic development models like that? Or would you leave it the way it is right now?
Well, I'm satisfied. You're always changing models. If a model stays the same for too long, then it becomes ineffective. But the current system we have now, I'm comfortable with it. Can it be changed? Can it be better to an extent? Maybe. And you always have to look into that. But and I encourage you, or any of the media, because it's open to go to an EDC meeting and check it out. Right now we have a very strong board there. They're outspoken, they speak their mind, and they have accountability to Bruce Strapp and his group. So it's one of the strongest boards I've seen in a long time at the EDC.
You've been part of that, of course.
I've been part of that, but that's the aspect you look for. Is there accountability? And Bruce and his employees are held accountable to this current board. So it's not my decision solely. If council entertained that, and the majority of council wanted to look at that, then I'd
take a look at it.
Of course, it's to the majority of council, but the current model was looked at this term of council. We had a third-party review on the EDC, and they came up to say it's effective. And it's obviously can there be little changes, but overall it is effective. So that's one way of looking at it.
One final quick point from you on Transpolar. If you're elected mayor, where do we go with Transpolar? Is it we can eliminate that for the next 4 years, or where would you stand? What direction would you like to take with it?
We definitely have to shift our focus. That Transpolar that Transpolar initiative really hasn't advanced very far in 10 years. But when our current 10 years ago, when John was first elected mayor, he created a transportation committee. He was onto something with that. Strengthening our transportation links will provide benefits and opportunities to our business environment. So it's a matter of making sure our air, our sea, rail, all those aspects of travel are, those transportation links are strong. So whether it's a deep sea port, or it's better air service, or the roads are better, the rail is reliable, those are the things that will lead to cargo and different aspects, different development that way.
But we don't need to focus like we have been for the last 10 years on Transpolar.
No, I think that there's other aspects within transportation that will provide benefits and results.
Appreciate that, Jamie. We've gone over time. We could go another few shows with you. That's Ward 1 Councillor Jamie Caicco, and of course he is a candidate for mayor in the upcoming election, October 25th. I'm Andy Martins for Prime Time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.